Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be taking another look at XRP and specifically the price action to see what's been going on most recently. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. Right, with that said and done, let's get into some technical analysis here for XRP. So we want to start things off with this weekly chart, just talk about what's been going on most recently. We can obviously see that the stochastic is approaching the overbought area. Again, this is in line with what we've seen previously. So this is not a bad place to be. We'll be looking to push the price up significantly from here before we start to see some momentum drop out. And what we can talk about here is it doesn't take a lot of momentum to be pulled out or a lot of price action to kind of pull that stochastic down to an oversold area. We can actually have a pretty decent correction without doing too much damage to the price whilst we're on the way to the upside. With XRP, it's a little bit more different and difficult to kind of analyze because of everything that's going on with Ripple and the SEC. But for the most part, it's been performing reasonably well considering everything that is going on. And I think as soon as we start to see some kind of clarity occur in terms of that case, whether or not Ripple and the SEC come to agreement and settle, which I do think is the most likely outcome, then I think this thing is going to absolutely fly. Now, XRP is still my largest position. It's a project that I really do truly believe in, and it's really hard to move the needle in this space without some kind of clarity and regulation from the US. Although the rest of the world, we have pretty much decent clarity on XRP as an exchange token or a utility token to that effect. I think that ultimately the lawsuit's only really going to hurt the US in the long haul. If Ripple have to, they will just migrate out of the US to a more regulatory friendly environment. You really see this happening with many different projects. So ultimately, the only people who would get hurt from this lawsuit long term, if a settlement isn't there and the SEC do class XRP as a security, will of course be the US, and it's very unfortunate, but for the rest of the world, XRP will continue as normal. So overall on this weekly chart, we have had a good progress, but we are aware that the lawsuit can of course cause things to move up rapidly, but also move down quite rapidly. Overall though, we have found good support at $1.07, and we're going to get into our ABC correction on our daily chart in a moment, because that's also quite interesting when we go through that. But $1.07 has held well for us, and if it continues to do so, then we should be taking a look at the next levels really, really soon. Overall, on this weekly chart, everything is looking pretty good. We can see that there's about 1,168% in gains to be had here on the Fibonacci retracement tool. This kind of takes us up to about $15.91, just short of the $16 range. And this basically runs Fibonacci from the all-time high down to the low of March 2020, right? So significant position to be buying XRP. This was back at 10 cents. And obviously, look at where it is now at $1.25, right? Even people who were selling it during the Jay Clayton lawsuit dropping at the end of the year, potentially, selling it right down here. I was buying it at 17 cents, right? Because, we were going to be pushing significantly higher, in my opinion. And that's exactly what we saw. So again, you're looking at pretty good gains that are being made even since the lawsuit has occurred. And even since the lawsuit has been filed, Ripple have been gaining more and more clients worldwide. They haven't actually slowed down in the slightest. So although it's quite frustrating, lots of things going on, it's actually a really interesting time to be alive as well, because you were able to buy up XRP at an awful cheap price during that lawsuit. That being said, loads of people were shaken out of the market, which was rather unfortunate. That being said, though, everything is still tracking quite nicely. We are in some interesting areas, and we're going to get into that in a moment on our daily chart. So let's jump down and take a look. So this is where we start seeing that ABC correction wave. Okay, we've been talking about it for a little while, but we were saying that, just because there's an ABC pattern forming doesn't mean that it gets completed. And we were looking for some key things to occur. And if they did, then it would invalidate our ABC correction, right? And what we were looking for specifically was going higher than our B wave. And that is exactly what we saw over here. We saw the wick above this wick over here. So now we can confirm that the ABC is off the tables. There is no ABC wave, and I will now delete that from our chart, which is fantastic news because it means we're not dropping down to that 93-cent scenario. The other issue that we do have, though, is that we are inside our 618 and getting rejected from our 702. Okay, so obviously we want to get a closed candle above the 786. This comes in at anything above $1.44.8. Okay, getting a closed candle up there is a big bull signal that takes us to the next level. So specifically for recovery, when we start talking about how low we've been and where we're going to be going next. So getting rejected from this area is very, very unfortunate. This is something that we have seen, unfortunately, a couple of times. We can see that this is the main area of resistance for us at $1.33. Okay, this is where we've had 2 wicks now come up to this zone and got rejected. Previously, we had a wick just touch on the 702, $1.34.8, and completely got rejected. And from there, we saw a bigger correction down to our support of $1.07. So we are cautious that this is a rejection point. We can see that we're now retesting the support of the 618. And if this can be held nice and strongly, we could potentially see a good surge past the 702 and trying to get into and above the 786 area. Okay, today is a key day. If we were able to get that surge today and get the weekly close candle up there, that would be fantastic. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think we're going to have to be a little bit slower with moving above our 702 before we go to the 786. That being said, we can obviously see that the stochastic RSI is in a reasonable position, plenty of room to grow to the upside on this daily chart. So currently tracking at 54, not too bad from that kind of perspective either. When we throw the volumes on, we can see the volumes have decreased as we started to have this correction here. Otherwise, they were quite flat during this push to the upside. And what we really wanted to do is actually see good growth volume like we had seen over here. So again, being the fact that the volumes are nice and low, if we start to see good growth volume with our, with our candles here, then we should actually start to see some good price action occur as we go into the overbought area of our stochastic and take out that 786 in due course. So we're not looking for anything instantaneously. We're not talking about next 24 hours, 48 hours, but we are talking that, in the next week or so, we want to be taking out these key areas, right? The 702, the 786, etc. But let's jump down into our hourly, okay, and we'll just expand this out. Now, we were tracking this, trying to try and get a wedge form to the upside. This was invalidated, right? We basically saw that we came to the upper bound here, and we were rejected from it, and actually we started tracking down and finding the support of the 618, right? So this is interesting. It means that we've actually held the upper bound but not the lower bound, and so I will go ahead and just grab hold of that and basically just move it over here for now and see if that will hold. Obviously, trend lines are very, very weak. They're not the strongest thing. So it could just be that we actually need to actually see something else go on here. This actually looks more like a parallel channel now. So we'll see if we get a reversal from here and see if we actually start to push back to the upside there. But if that is a parallel channel, that could also be very, very interesting push to the upside there. But I will just expand that up to our resistance line there, so we can see that there is a triangular wedge in regards to being formed inside here, right? We can see there's just that triangular wedge there. So again, this could be a tight area that we then see an explosion from at a later date. And with that being said, if it's a parallel channel, then actually we'll try to find that midway point, try to turn the midway point into a support and just constantly track it up to the upside like that, and it'll be more of a gradual burn. But in due course, we need more touch points. We'll confirm if that is the case at a later date. So I'll leave those going for now on there. From a stochastic point of view, here we can see that we are in, again, that midway range, right? We have plenty of room to grow to the upside, but there's a small amount that we could potentially pull back down to the downside. But that being said, we've already found good support here, so there's more likely, in my opinion, to push up. We'll just check the volume. You can see the volume had decreased down as we were having this correction, and again, the volume's nice and low. So if we actually start to see some good volume growth, as we start to see some good buying volume come in, pushing those candles to the upside, taking us to the overbought area, and before we go back into a bit of a pullback. So again, there could be a good surge here to the upside as we try to go up. I don't think there's enough momentum straight away to get past there, so we'll have to just track that over time. Again, I'm talking about the next kind of week to see what happens here. And this kind of comes in towards the end of the week, or the midweek, so that kind of 8th of September, that kind of range. Timing is the hardest thing to gauge though, so it's really difficult, but otherwise, you could see a complete blast out of here straight away. Very unlikely, but I do think we'll more likely have that kind of scenario like that move to the upside. So we'll have to just monitor that situation, see how the markets are performing. XRP is slightly down in the last 24 hours as the point of recording this video, but overall it has been performing relatively well. If we're ever in doubt, it's always important that we do zoom out and pay attention to what is going on with the bigger picture. Because this kind of takes away a lot of the noise that you see with the hourlies and things like that. It gives you an idea of where we are tracking slightly longer term. We can obviously see clear areas of resistance. We obviously can see up here as well, these areas that we'll be fighting on and against as well. So guys, hopefully you have found this brief update on XRP useful and informative. If you have, then hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.